Good to see you all. Well, the world is a better place because you are here to join us. My name is Matt Brown, and I am the host of the Productive Conversations podcast. And it is a Monday into Tuesday, the October 21st and October 22nd, 2024. And this is another edition of the Tweet Cap. A lot of baseball has been taking place, and we moved our football, as you know, and I talked about to Tuesday. So now we're just enjoying this, a regular tweet cap, and talk about what's trending. Ryan is with me. What's up, Ryan?
How's it going, man? Yeah, you have been everywhere this past weekend. You have been covering everything. So people who are listening to this,
Hmm.
check out all of the baseball, all of the football coverage. I believe NBA is coming up. Yeah,
NBA
this
will
has
be
been a
third
busy,
Wednesday.
yep, this has been a busy, busy week for Matt in particular, productive conversation. So I'm glad we have a low key night, right? Just talking about the videos that we've been seeing on the internet. No stakes, no heart racing for famous Yankees fan, Matt Brown, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. And yeah, definitely nice to take it slow. The one more week next week of the World Series and highly anticipated one, then back to normal for a little bit. And we'll take that indeed.
Yes,
So exciting stuff. As I mentioned, talked about yesterday, good stuff for the Mets. Um they got a great future ahead, obviously. Very good future ahead. So I wouldn't be afraid, as I'm sure nobody really is. But it's gonna be a good night. It's gonna be a good season for them in the future.
I
And
think
it'll
so
be a good
too.
night tonight just to talk about what's going on in the world. And before anything else, just want to remind you to like and subscribe to the Productive Conversations podcast on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. And don't forget to check out exclusive content regarding the show across all social media platforms. We're on Instagram at Productive Conversations Podcast, X/Twitter at ProdConvoPod, on TikTok at Productive Conversations, and Facebook at Productive Conversations. And as always, don't you forget to check out our friends at Magic Mind, our presenting sponsor, as always. This elixir is responsible for getting you the energy and mental clarity you need to start your day. And you take your Magic Mind before the day begins, whether before the gym, the train, the bus, the car, if you're flying, whatever. You take that, and due to its vitamins and nootropics, it will add a lot of positive influence both mentally and physically,
Hmm.
including less stress, less inflammation, and an easier way to wake up. And to get your hands on this that we've been using for months, go to
Hmm.
magicmind.com/PCMB and use discount code PCMB20 for 48% off your first subscription and 20% off your first one-time purchase. So yes, as October is coming closer to an end, we are trying to talk about we are talking about obviously a lot of baseball, a lot of football, college and the NFL. We got
Hmm.
yeah, NBA starts, WNBA finished. Congratulations, New York Liberty. Awesome
Yep.
stuff there. And amongst that, not only with your fall sports, but leagues are changing, Apple picking, all of that exciting stuff, Halloween, spooky
Halloween.
season.
Yep.
And I'll tell you one thing, I don't know if this is taking the back door, at least for me, but I'm sure for a lot of others, there has been an election, the United States election taking place. No October surprises necessarily, but we've seen a lot of our candidates, but our main candidates in Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump doing the circuit, as you will, being on all these various podcasts, a lot of TV shows, all of that. Now, one thing to also add, these candidates are trying to be, how you say, these candidates are trying to be creative in what they
Yeah.
want to do to
Hmm.
connect to the American people. And whether you actually believe it or not, or feel genuine, they're doing what they can.
Hmm.
So whether it's Kamala going on the Call Her Daddy podcast, or Donald Trump going on the Undertaker's podcast, doing a lot of stuff, the 60 Minutes interviews and all of that. But one thing we can say, and I get it, Donald Trump is not everyone's favorite person, and he's everybody's favorite person. But despite the polarizing things that he does, I do think the man's funny. Whether you want to accept that or not, I understand, but he does a lot of funny things. And in response to Kamala Harris saying that she's worked at McDonald's, Trump and his team went out of their way to make sure Trump can work at a McDonald's. So let me show you some of the clips first, and then we can talk from there. But this is Donald Trump working at a McDonald's in somewhere in Pennsylvania. Some of the clips here. Look at him working the fry machine here.
Open it up. Keep it tight. We got the salt on it. Never touches the human hand.
Very good.
Nice and full.
Thank you.
Good. Open it up. Keep it tight.
Never touches the human hand. It's crazy. Because you know that's something he's been worried about forever.
I don't even know if that's a real McDonald's thing, but we have some other clips from here. I understand from News Nation, so
yes,
these people
these people like Trump. For anyone who's watching,
It's pretty good. Okay, let's say. Believe this? Look at this guy. He's a MAGA guy all the way.
His cap.
Well, that's a good looking group. Hello, everybody.
I want to see.
This is not a normal situation, is it?
I don't see a MAGA cap. Oh, he's got it. Right?
How do you
No.
introduce those people? Oh, they look like what? They look like the what?
He goes, oh,
here's some
good-looking
more,
guy.
getting some handshakes.
So this is complimentary, okay? All right. You go have a good time. Don't eat too much, right?
don't eat too much as he hands you your meal.
See, he really is a funny dude. And controversy aside, he can at least make you laugh, I think.
I mean, yeah, which would be great if he was, running for a roastmaster general of the Friars Club in New York.
I
Oh
get
my
you
God.
there. But Donald Trump at McDonald's, Ryan. And listen, also, it is fair to point out, whether it's from Newsweek's article talking about how this was staged, that the campaign team allegedly rented the McDonald's and closed it to the public to create this content.
Oh, they
Wouldn't be
definitely did
surprised,
that.
but still pretty funny. Wherever he gets got those customers too. But
Well,
Donald
yes.
Trump doing his part in trying to connect culture to the American people, and he said he did this because I worked 15 more minutes than Kamala Harris, who claimed to have worked at McDonald's. Oh, that's funny. I'm sorry.
Just truthfully to me, so when they say that, I'm like, who is that for? I mean, you said it was funny. Maybe it's for you. I don't know. Or not just you specifically, but folks like you. But like, who really cares if she worked at McDonald's? Most of the presidents haven't worked at McDonald's. Some of the presidents were born before McDonald's was a thing. You know what I mean? Like Biden. So like, you know what I mean? Why is that? It's just so weird. But do you know who Michael Dukakis is, Matt?
Yes, he ran for president
He
in the
did.
80s. Yes, and he's from Massachusetts.
Yeah, governor of
was? Yeah.
Massachusetts. Yep. Have you seen the tank photo?
What's the tank photo?
If you let me share the screen, I'll show you.
Yeah, how do I do that? Hold up. One second. Let me pause this really quick.
Yeah.
So we're back. Now here's
Here we
Ryan
are.
showing his screen.
Yes, and here is Mike Dukakis in the tank. So some backstory, just quick. Mike Dukakis, governor of Massachusetts, was accused of being like essentially soft. And so went to this military exercise, got in the tank, took a picture, got ridiculed and laughed at by the entirety of America, and then got absolutely massacred in his campaign for president. Didn't even have a chance. And that's all I wanted to show and the reason why I wanted to show that is we have seen the reaction online be mostly joking. No one took the Donald Trump thing seriously.
Yeah, good thing.
No one, even fans of his, even people who like him, no one is treating this particular thing as, a serious thing that has happened. But I've noticed and the Trump campaign probably doesn't even know what this means. Let's be honest. I've seen a bunch of people comment on this video on multiple different platforms. Just put the fries in the bag, bro, which is one of the biggest insults you can say in the year of our Lord 2024. That put the fries in the bag, bro, means you're washed, means you're done, means you got nothing left. You're just gonna work at McDonald's. That's what it means for anyone who is unaware. Though I think most of people listening to this are definitely aware of that particular line. And so getting that comment all over social media, I don't know. But I do think that if he loses, and he may or may not lose, I'm not speculating there, but if he does lose, I feel like that picture is going to be shared a gazillion times as part of the mocking that he'll receive if he loses. Because if he does that and loses, that's crazy. I don't know about you. I don't know if you've seen the comments that I've seen too, but no one has taken it seriously. Everybody's seen it as a joke, and I feel like that could actually hurt him. You know, because everyone knows he's funny, but it's about whether or not he should be president. And I don't know that being funny helps him do that. But we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. I do think you have a point with that it can be it can like work against him, but
Right.
only time will tell, right? Only time will tell, and we will see what happens, but that definitely gave us a laugh
Oh,
on what was
yes.
it, Sunday that it happened? If that's your October surprise.
The October surprise is Trump rented a McDonald's.
Hey, that's better than the other stuff that was happening in the summer. Are we
Yes, I
right?
will say I wish that was how the entire campaign was compared to the other things that we had happening. But I I don't know. That's tough.
It
He is
is tough.
funny, I fear. That's something we just have to accept. Might not be
He doesn't
everybody's
even
favorite.
try.
I don't particularly like the guy, and I don't believe he's funny on purpose all the time either. I don't think he thought he was being funny in any of those clips that we just watched, but that almost makes it funnier that he's being super serious. You know what I mean? Like that's just who he is. He's just being himself, and he's just an inherently silly person. But
Hey, that's all it takes sometimes.
yeah,
All right,
makes you
why don't we
likable.
move? You know, we had some very sad news that took place in the TikTok world. The
Hmm.
great Dolo Ren texted me this when I was doing some errands on Friday, and I was genuinely bummed.
Mhm.
According to this, we had Life and Scars, better known as Game is Game, was supposed to appear sorry, let me restart that. No, let me see this. There is allegedly Life and Scars, also known as Game is Game, has allegedly passed away at the age of 37 due to an apparent drug overdose. And you might have or might not have seen Game is Game, but this is the guy who's pretty much has been called the Socrates of the TikTok era, often giving very good advice and has helped people through many various situations. Now, let us look at who Game is Game is exactly.
Just remember, when she come back, it ain't because that bitch give a fuck about you. It's because don't nobody give a fuck about that bitch. Game is game. Guys, every single man on this planet gonna get his heart broken by some bitch at some point in time. The best thing for you to do is to cut ties, stay busy, and don't ever let it get too motherfucking quiet, because that's when it gets loud. The next best thing you can do is transfer that pain. Breakup pain is like energy. It can't be lost. It can only be transferred. So go find you some bitch you don't care about, build that bitch up, tear that hoe down, and you'll feel a little better. The worst thing for you to do is to expect your bitch to come back. Guys, when a bitch walk out of your life, that means she expecting that she can do better than you. And the only way she come back is if, number one, you showing that you don't care about her, and number two, she out here slanging pussy in these streets, and don't nobody give a fuck about that hoe. Give it about 3 to 6 months and she'll come crawling back.
Damn. Gone too soon. Game is game. Who has taught us?
Certainly. I certainly received information which is how you define teaching. So sure. But obviously, they're very sad that someone passed away. And I mean, yeah, it's bad. There's been a few overdose or drug whatever's the past few weeks. So stay safe out there. I know it's not cool, but maybe just take it easy on the whatever your choice is, because could be your last one. You know what I'm saying? But yes, very sad that he passed away. I don't know how helpful the advice was to other people. I don't believe I would have found it all that helpful personally. Not my experience, but hey, I mean everybody's different. And who am I to say? Maybe that advice worked for him and millions of other people, even though I doubt that. But maybe.
There are a lot of people in this world who have listened to him and say, "Damn, I feel that." And that's all that matters sometimes. Am I right, Mr. Page?
That's right. You leave an impact. That's all anyone can hope for, right? Is to leave an impact when they go. Gone too soon, as you said, of absolutely. But made an impact, so that's good, I guess.
Yeah, no. In
Silver
all
lining.
seriousness, I understand he's definitely says some vulgar stuff, but I think when he's genuinely serious, he has some legitimate things to say, like serious. In all seriousness, I really believe that.
I mean, listen, if you listen to what like that one, right? Obviously the vulgarity or whatever, but like there are little nuggets
Like
of a lesson in
if you
there.
just use different vocabulary, there is
I mean,
legit
not quite,
advice
because
in there.
part of the advice was also to find someone you don't care about and break their heart. And I mean, that's obviously a ridiculous way to go about your life, is to take your pain and hand it to somebody else. But the other stuff, right? About, if somebody walks away from you, don't spend all your time worrying about them coming back. Just go about your business. Use that energy to do something else. Stay busy. Like there was good advice sprinkled amongst the vulgarity and the bad advice, but the macho man advice, we'll call it. But yeah, obviously it's hard to see the forest for the trees sometimes when it's wrapped in that particular packaging and rhetoric. It's hard to find the positives, but it was there. Yeah, just keep busy. Don't spend your time dwelling on the past. That's all good advice. That's all good advice, I would say.
How about this though? Another example. Game is game speaking about how to stop overthinking.
Looking too deep into it, I really wouldn't. See, when you start thinking about stuff too much, then you're not gonna do it. Sometimes you just gotta do it, bro. All right. You just gotta go with it. Don't think too deep. Just think that you only live once. Everything that you do on life won't matter one day. Whether it's illegal, whether it's legal, it don't really matter. All right. One day we all gonna be dead. I don't give a fuck how good you do in life. Your ass gonna die. I don't give a fuck how bad you do in life. Your ass gonna die. All right. So live, okay?
Thank you, Game is game.
I think that is a fitting one to end on, given the circumstances. But yes, that's good advice, I will say. Maybe minus the felony part, but even that technically I think still works. You only live one life. You make a mistake, you don't make a mistake, it ends the exact same way. So that's good advice, and let that be a lasting lesson from Game is Game.
Gone too soon, Game is game. We will never forget what you said. And thank you for all the great advice you have given us.
Man,
or
yes.
some of us.
The great advice
We can
you've
filter
given,
out. We're good at filtering it out on and off. But anyways, all right. Moving on though with the TikTok part. Why don't we actually talk about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan, Saturday Night Live's in its 50th season right now, right?
That's a
Good
lot of
show.
seasons.
Great show. Can I ask you one thing? What do you think has been the one criticism for SNL? Let's say just a recent history, since at least when we were in high school.
I mean, since we've been in high school, I thought SNL
Or
was
just
good in high school, but like,
or you could say, how about in the last 5 years?
I mean, the show has gone heavy into the like news portion of current events. Obviously, there's a lot of satire on the show always, but they've tripled the satire, and they've made it almost exclusively political, not cultural or whatever. I would say that's been my biggest, because it's just everything becomes a think piece right now. Instead of talking about was it funny, it's was it deep, was it the right message? It
Yeah,
just
that's
everything
basically where
becomes
I'm
a think
going. Is
piece. Yeah,
a lot of people say SNL. They say, "Oh, it's not funny anymore." That's the thing. One of its main criticisms is that
right.
it's not funny anymore. And I'm definitely a big SNL fan. But when I get viral things on my For You, I know it's for a specific audience. But I actually saw one SNL skit from this past Saturday, the Ariana Grande episode. No, yeah, she was in a
No, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, excuse me.
Yeah,
Michael Keaton and somebody else famous, right? Charlie XO,
Billie
Billy
Eilish was the
Eilish. See,
musical guest. Yeah.
Jesus. Anyways, but Saturday Night Live actually had a legitimate viral SNL sketch that I've
Hmm.
seen on all different meme pages, and this is pretty much SNL making fun of TikTok. You want to see the viral sketch?
I think we should show the people the viral sketch.
And basically, the one common comment, wow, this is actually funny. Is SNL back now? That was really, really
That was
clever.
really funny. I will say actually, they have been doing more in the last like 2 years, I would say, that is not about just the news all the time, but it's about like just things that are culturally relevant. And I would say my kind of the part that I've liked is what's his name, Marcelo.
Yeah, Marcello. Yeah.
Yeah, he in
He's a star.
particular.
He's a rising star for
Oh
real.
yeah, but I'm saying he in particular has been very his skits, I'm assuming he writes them, he's in them, have all been pretty much not about like politics. They'll make reference
That's
to
the
it, of
key.
course, but like I don't even, by the way, I do not speak Spanish. I can barely understand it. I understand a little bit, of course, but not great. But the him taking his white girlfriend to his mom's house, they've done it twice, I believe now. Those skits are hysterical. And I only understand half of what is happening in terms of like the English language, but they're funny. And
Hmm.
there was another one that they just did. Everyone's gonna think it's the Domingo one, which again, that went super viral too because the song is
Yeah.
funny. But they were like doing a spoof when it was what is his name? Nate
Yeah,
Barengert.
Baron Gazer.
Yeah, when he was on, they just get where he was at a um a game show like on like Univision whatever, and it was based on a real thing. And again, most of it was in Spanish, and I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, I
You
saw that
know,
one
like
legitimately viral
yeah, I was
too.
like, and again, I don't have any cultural context for that. I'm sure if you are, if you grew up in a household that was watching like Univision, you probably know exactly what that is. And it was probably even funnier because you know what it's based on. But just, we don't have to see Trump and Kamala and the judges and the senators and all. We just don't need all that. Like, they used to have someone play every single person in the news, right? They had like Ted Cruz's, right? They had all Bernie Sanders's. They had all these like nobody Congress people. Like, no one cares about those people. Nobody knows who those people are, and they don't want to hear about it. So you do the presidential stuff, obviously. You got to, because that's the biggest story, realistically, in the news. But then just don't
Yeah,
worry about the news.
you just go to the culture. That's why the
Yeah.
show's the
Oh,
show's a
Dune
show.
Popcorn Bucket. That was hysterical.
Yeah, well,
That song.
and just having some new legitimate stars that will be big after their time at SNL. I don't think a lot's been happening lately, but now I think, you know, Marcello Hernandez is legitimately going to be
Him
a big
specifically,
star.
yeah.
Chloe Fineman's really good.
Hmm.
Um, who else off like those two?
I mean,
Heidi
yeah,
Gardner's
those,
great.
yeah, those two.
Uh,
They've got a couple of people who are gonna,
Bowen
I
Yang's
think.
great.
I mean, I think Bowen Yang could very well end up kind of like Keenan.
Just there all the
Yeah, I
seasons.
think that it could just be that this is his
This
thing.
is
This
his
is what he
job.
does.
Why not?
Um, and then I forget her name. She's very funny though. Ego, is that a name?
Ego, yeah, with the hard last name, the Ego
Yes.
who had the beef with Chili's.
Yes, yes. And I would love to see her succeed past SNL. I don't know if that will
Yeah.
happen, but she will definitely always have a place on SNL because she's consistently one of the funnier people.
Oh, she's great.
And so, yeah, like there's a few people that I think are definitely going to go past it. And also, like, think of the last like group of people who went past SNL. Well, you got like Pete Davidson, and they didn't do anything when they went past SNL. You know what I mean? There hasn't been
Yeah.
a
Not
Will
really much.
Ferrell, Adam Sandler, even Jimmy
I
Fallon.
feel like this
Like,
the last time there was that generation, the
was Fallon.
Sudeikis, Bill Hader,
Yeah,
Kristen
okay, you're
Wiig,
right. Yeah, they
Andy
were after.
Samberg.
Yeah.
I mean, they all had iconic shows where they starred in after.
Yeah. But
So I
since
feel like
then, it
after that
hasn't been.
generation, it's like
Yeah.
the Jay Farrow, Taron Killam. Where
They
did they
didn't
go?
do it.
They
Yeah,
just
they didn't make
are
it.
torn stand-ups, which is still good,
Yeah, I mean, good
obviously.
for them, obviously, but they
But
definitely didn't
yeah,
have that crossover appeal. And again, up until very recently.
the
And even
Melissa
Colin Jost, by the
Villaseñor,
way,
Colin
did
Jost is still there, and him
he's still
and
there.
Jay. I think they also know that this is might as well keep doing. If it ain't broke, don't fix
Yeah,
it.
well, but they both have like stuck their toes out, and they've had maybe like at best moderate success doing other things, and so they won't
They
ever
did.
leave
They were in
because
WrestleMania.
well, the WrestleMania I liked, but like well, no, he did the freaking Tom and Jerry movie. Che wrote a TV show,
I
right?
forgot
Che
about
had
that.
one season of a TV show on
Yeah,
HBO. So like they both did some other stuff just on the side to see how it would go, and it like didn't go that good. And so they're like, let's just stick around. You know what I
it
mean?
wasn't
So
a Ted Lasso and
no,
Barry
right.
type
Yeah,
effect.
exactly. Or Brooklyn Nine-Nine or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
exactly. See those three big time shows right there. That's exactly the
Kristen
point.
Wiig is in the Wonder Woman
Yeah,
movie. That's really maybe one of the only things I've actually seen her in since she
her
was
and
in SNL.
Bridesmaids. Yeah,
But
you think she
oh,
would?
Bridesmaids, yes, but
Or where's Kate McKinnon at?
I don't know.
Exactly. That's like another example of that, like mid
Of that group,
2010s.
yeah, that
Yeah,
didn't really do anything. She was supposed to be Carol Baskin in something I don't think
yeah.
ever got
She was
made.
in the Barbie movie. She was good in that.
Yeah,
But
she
that's
was good in
it.
that. I did like that actually. But no, so hopefully
I
there's a
think it
few
just shows
people.
it's hard, because it
Oh
was
yeah,
almost a given. Like back then, it's easy if it was just the movie. You just go
right.
from SNL to be a movie star.
Movie
But
star,
now with
yeah.
movies, one, they don't big studios don't make comedies like that anymore.
Right, yeah. You need to do TV to be a
Yeah, which
comedian.
is exactly the Ted Lasso, Barry, Brooklyn Nine-Nine
Yeah.
formula. But then from there, I think now you do literally the TikTok generation from that.
Mhm. I
So
mean, yeah, so
yeah,
that'll be interesting though too. And Shane Gillis kind of comes to mind with this in that I mean, obviously he's got TV shows or whatever, but I don't actually think he's gonna be a big TV guy. I think he's gonna be mostly like have the podcast, have
yeah,
his
the
stand up.
podcast world.
Yeah,
And
I
that's still
really
just as successful, if not
Oh
more
yeah,
successful
and
now.
so
Yeah.
well, that will be what's interesting is again it started you wanted to get on SNL so then you could be a movie star and then they switched it to you wanted to be on SNL because if you were funny enough you could get your own TV show. Now is it going to be SNL ends up just being like a pathway to some sort of like YouTube
A TikTok
or
channel.
TikTok? Yeah, like no, but
That's
seriously, like
nuts.
that's
That
kind
is
of
a
where
way to
like
get
the
early
right, you know what
subscribers.
I mean? Like yeah, are you if you're having a hard time building a subscriber base online, do you audition for SNL to be on TV and then, build up the fan base quickly from that before ditching it and starting your own thing? I don't know. That's what I don't know, but it's kind of interesting to think about. That could very easily kind of be what happens because that might just be the next thing. Like starring on the screen has gotten smaller, went from big screens to TV screens. Now we're talking phone screens. So who knows? But
And who was the last one? He was an SNL cast member for one season. Didn't do much, but he became extremely big on Netflix. The show, also doing sketch. I see his face right now. I just can't think of his name.
he's doing sketch, but he was
Yeah,
only on
yeah,
for one
very,
season.
very. It's cringe sketch. It's like a Tim and
Oh,
Eric type. God,
okay.
I'm so you will. I'm going to. Not. I wish. I wish you were there. Um, Jesus, this is where SNL. Fuck. He was only on SNL one season. I gotta pause this for this research. Tim Robinson was the last one for that, and he's like
Yes.
solely like you expect him to be like a Netflix original comedian type, but he was on SNL first.
Yeah, which is again, he moved to streaming his phones. Like, you know what I mean? That's kind of where we're heading. I again, obviously, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, it'll probably start with like streaming. Everyone will get a Hulu deal, and then it'll go to just TikTok. There's one more step, but yeah, I really do think that that's, this group has maybe some people who can do that for the first time in a long time. Again, no disrespect to Pete Davidson, but nothing he made afterward was for me. You know what I mean? Uh,
Right.
and like Jay Farrow, Taron Killam, all those folks. Yeah.
Hey, it's still talented, and we'll see them all in their big reunion show in February.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll be a huge show.
Oh yeah, I think they're doing it's like a week event. The week after the Super Bowl, they're doing like events all over the city and stuff. I think
Mhm.
I read that the night before they're doing all of the SNL music guests at Radio City,
That's cool.
like a 50-year history. And the one thing I think even SNL is somewhat underrated for this is, I mean, if you really want to see what's going on in America for the last 50 years, you
Yeah.
just see what SNL did. They captured the culture of this
Yeah.
country for 5 decades, from
Yeah.
Gerald
And
Ford to now at Biden.
yeah. And honestly, we complained how everything got quote unquote too political the last, we'll call it 6, 7 years, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, the entire world, like, or the entire country, I should say, got too political. Like, everyone now, suddenly, people, growing up anyway, no one ever had an opinion about politics that was strong. Like, when you met someone who had a strong opinion about politics, it was a rarity. Now, literally anyone you meet is liable to yell at you for your political views. Like, literally, that's true. If you say anything in public, you should basically assume someone disagrees with you and is willing to tell you that loudly. And so, when you think of it that way, like, yeah, the show did get too political, quote unquote, but so did everybody else. You know what I mean? From like
Right.
2014 to now, everyone got that way. And so didn't make for fun TV viewing because all it did was make people angry. But they did capture the sentimentality of America in that time period, whether we like it or not. It just basically was proof that America, the last 10 years, hasn't been very funny. It's actually been really annoying and kind of,
Yeah.
anger inducing, which is why all of the comedy that came out of it is basically just anger inducing.
And you
So,
do appreciate that switch up for
oh yeah, I'm glad that they
like this
figured it
sketch
out.
and the Marcello doing the Univision show, and
Mhm.
well, back to basics, right?
Yes.
And the
And I think that
genius
that's
of
good.
Lorne Michaels with that too.
Is he really not leaving? I thought he was leaving this season. Sounds like he
And
might
that's what
stay
I
now.
heard. Is that what you heard? Is that what they
Yeah,
reported?
I've
That
seen that.
like just to life, like a Supreme Court
Yeah.
justice judge? Hey, why not? If
What?
anyone deserves to stay, might as well be him, right?
Yeah, but just, retire. Everyone should retire.
Or what if he just has a co-host, co-executive producer with him, with Tina Fey, who I don't know about you, I don't think I've seen her do much after the Mean Girls Broadway show. Maybe
No,
because she's
but
just
I think she'd
is
be
it
great
because
at SNL.
is he just waiting
I think
to
so.
just
Yes.
be the succession, if you
Yeah, I
will?
do. I really do think that she knows she's up next.
So don't
And
work
so she's just
until
gonna
then.
do little bits. I mean, she's got a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
Obviously from, she's had very successful shows and movies and whatever. But um yeah, she's a big star too. I know she was not the era we're talking about. She was before it. She was like
Yeah.
Fallon and Polar. Again, all big stars. But yeah, no, I think he should let it go. And again, maybe not all the way. Maybe if he wants to do a trial period where she's in charge, but he's still on set, fine. But
Yeah, like I
but
have
I
a really
really do
bad
think
example of that because it involves a monster, you know who, like that and
mm,
Paul Levesque, but
yeah,
that'd be perfect in that sense, if you know what I'm
yeah.
getting at.
Well, it's just because we do this, and it is a problem. Like when we keep the old guard in forever, the show gets old. It gets stale. Now, obviously, Lauren Michaels, as opposed to other people like the person you just mentioned, is a little bit more flexible. And was seeing the last 8 years as being particularly not successful for for the show and has openly tried to incorporate new ideas from fresher, younger. I mean, this is a really young group they hired. I don't know
Yeah.
if they've ever hired this young before. And so it's clear that it's on purpose. It's clear that he's aware that it wasn't working his way, and so he needs to change his way. But he shouldn't have to. He made comedy for 50 years. He should. He doesn't
50
have
years.
to. He doesn't have to adapt now. He can just let it go and let someone new do the comedy now. Like, you know what I mean? So I really do think he should strongly consider retiring. Everyone should retire, especially when you're that successful. And
And
not
you do
every.
feel that
Yeah.
Tina Fey, can be hip enough.
Oh, absolutely. Tina Fey will do great. I won't even say fine. I think she'll do great. And honestly, we're seeing what this cast can do with him.
Yeah, right.
So all you're doing is getting him. I mean, Tina Fey is an SNL writer and SNL star. Both she's done both. She's been in the writer's room as well as on the screen. And I mean, there's very few people that I could think of who are more like a quote unquote succession than her, right? Like who else from the history of SNL? I mean, again, Che and Jost,
Yeah,
Seth
that's the only
Meyers,
thing
maybe.
that I would know on, like, on camera, but you don't know who's behind the scenes, either.
Mulaney,
So
like John Mulaney. Like
I
there's like 3 or 4 names that
think
you
he
could
just
think
signed up
of.
to do a month variety show on
Yeah,
every
he is
month
doing a
on
variety show.
Netflix.
Yeah.
So maybe he's doing that instead.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, but there's only like 4 or 5 names that I can think
Yeah,
of that
yeah, that
kind
are
of
on that.
learned under him, and she's one of them, and probably the top amongst them. So I just feel like it'll be fine. He should just let it go. And you know what? If it's bad, come back.
We've seen plenty of
NBC
people
will
do that.
fire people. Yeah,
He will.
NBC will fire people for
Lorne
bad
Michaels
ratings.
turns 80 years old on November 17th of this year.
Just retire. Just let it go. We don't need 80-year-olds in charge of everything. We just don't. Go have fun with like your great grandkids.
Seriously. Well, we will see how that all unfolds. And one last thing on that. I saw a clip, another one of that. I won't say a lost generation, just the
Mhm.
2010s generation. If you remember Bobby Moynihan,
I do. I
I
do
saw him on.
remember.
I didn't watch the pod, but I saw a clip of it. They were talking about it and stuff like SNL 50, and he
Mhm.
mentioned how, if you really think about how the show they're still doing it at 11:30 at night, the same time,
Mhm.
11:35 on Saturday night, same time as when they did in the 70s, and the way they produce the show really is designed for people who are on cocaine, and yet they're still doing it this way. And he just thought, even literally being there, and he did like 8 seasons, and it was like,
Mhm.
wow, is this really necessary at this point? I don't know. Again, the don't break, don't fix it. If you do it,
Right. I
but
think
like if it
it's.
was designed, back then, I think SNL was a show because they didn't want to do Johnny Carson reruns anymore,
Mhm.
and all this extra producing. But yeah, they do it all, stay up all night during the week. I don't know. Do you need to do that anymore? Because again, it was designed for people who did cocaine.
I think there's something to it. I mean,
That
I'm
tradition. Would you change?
yeah.
I'm basically saying, would you change that tradition?
No, and the reason I wouldn't, and I'm not a big tradition person. I'm not a big traditionalist in most scenarios. I think progress is, inevitable, and it should be inevitable. You should progress, but every once in a while that there's just some institutions that feel older than even. I mean, 50 years old is old, by the way, but SNL somehow to me feels even older than that. And I know it's not, but it just feels like it harkens back to the 70s. It harkens back to an older time. And it kind of creates like it's. I mean, we're about to see for a week them marketing this essentially. It creates this weird loop where it connects today to yesterday in a way that doesn't feel scary. Like, you know what I mean? And I just think that to me is worth keeping it the way it is because there's nothing wrong with doing it late. Like, how many more people are really going to watch it if you move it to 10? Like, really?
And I think
Maybe,
that's what's good about social media keeping it up.
right.
You don't have to anymore.
That's where people are watching it in general. Either they're big fans and they stay up and they watch it and they love it. And I think a lot of kids, by the way, are like that. Even today with their phones, I think a lot of people it's a rite of passage to be able to stay up at 11:35 on a Saturday night and
Yeah.
watch something. And again, SNL isn't always PG either. So, you'll hear maybe one or two risque jokes. You'll hear a political joke that, your mom or your dad would disapprove of, a religion joke your mom or dad would disapprove of. And that's scandalous. And again, you feel like you're growing up in a way that people have felt since the 70s. And so I just really do think that some institutions matter too much to change, especially if they're not broken. Again, if something's not working, you got to change it. But if it's working fine, trying to optimize ourselves to oblivion, I think is ridiculous. If it's working, let's leave it.
Let it roll. Keep letting the beat
Keep it
goes
moving.
on and on. And how about SNL bringing back Alec Baldwin? His first
I saw
appearance.
that. Yeah.
So
That
is
was
Alec
interesting.
Baldwin okay now? I think
I
he's
don't-
I think he's legitimately close to Lorne Michaels.
I do
Always
too.
has been. And well,
Yeah.
he gave him Alec Baldwin's back, I guess.
I mean, we'll see how long it all lasts, but
And he is one of the best hosts they've ever had too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, and I think part of it is because it's this 50th season, they wanted to try and utilize them. So maybe doing it now is a way to test what kind of backlash they'll get, or even take the backlash now. So when
Yeah, I haven't seen so much. I guess they don't care.
I mean, he was found not guilty, right?
Or acquitted.
Acquitted or something. Yeah, like he's technically off the hook. So I mean,
it's just the court of public opinion. I guess there was
Yeah.
enough people who liked Alec Baldwin enough to not let.
Well, I think
him,
there's enough people who just forgot about what Alec Baldwin did. I don't even know it's that they like him. It's just like I mean, I don't spend all my time thinking about Alec Baldwin. You know what I mean?
True. But someone's like, "Hey, Alec Baldwin, where's he been at?"
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he disappeared. So yeah, I think that it's mostly just people have forgotten.
Hey, that's fine too. And then one thing, the show is just the tweet cap is just weekend update in this form.
Yeah, essentially. It's a
you say it
more
again.
laid back version of Weekend Update.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's have some fun, my friend. Unfortunately, we don't have our two compadres with us to share this hilarious trending Tinder story, but I might as well share it with you because this truly is the craziest Tinder story of all time. Let's react.
It was 2 days after Thanksgiving, and this girl from Tinder hit me up, and she's like, come over. And of course I did. So I'm sitting there. She invites me over. She sits me down on this oversized beanbag that she had. First red flag. Then she was like, hey, what's up? Okay, so mind you, dude, like I said, I was like a day or two after Thanksgiving. So I'm eating Thanksgiving leftovers, and I'm having Thanksgiving leftover farts and everything. I mean, it's bad. So I get to her house. I'm laying on the beanbag. She starts topping me up. And then I'm like, okay, this is normal. This is cool. I start pushing on her head. Come on, baby. Let's go deeper. And she goes like this, takes my hands, bah, bah. And she goes, that's the funny thing about guys. Grabs my legs. They always think they're in control. And fucking throws my legs. I mean, I'm telling you like this. She was like, and I was like, ma'am, what are we doing? And she just started eating my fucking ass, bro, just going to town on that shit. And I didn't shower. I mean, nothing, man. And I'm telling you, that was probably the kinkiest experience I ever had. Anyways, dog, I gotta go. I'll see y'all later.
Is he on Heelys?
He's on Heelys.
Wow.
I don't know. Is this going to be the next Hawk to a guy?
No, I don't think so. That guy's doesn't have it. The voice is wrong. You listen to the voice. You can tell with the voice. Like, no.
Do you believe his story? I think it is very descriptive like that. And there are.
I mean, yeah, there was a ton of detail. If that was completely made up, then kid's got a creative mind, certainly, but I think it was probably real. There's just too much detail. It was after Thanksgiving. There was a large beanbag.
The part of
he quoted her
after that stuff. I guess that anniversary is coming too, but
yeah.
Wow.
Happy anniversary to that kid. Yeah, definitely not Hawk Tuah. God bless her, by the way. But
I saw she got a silver YouTube plaque.
I'm sure she did. But yeah, that's wild. I mean, what do you even do? It didn't sound like he stopped her.
I guess he just had that experience. That's just
Just let that
Sometimes
happen.
solely you use Tinder for what it's advertised for. Well, it's not advertised for as the hookup app, but
It is though.
the innuendo of it all. So
Mhm.
what a mess. And you know one thing on Hawk Tour, by the way.
What a mess is a poor choice of words, Matt. Given the
And
context of that story.
with Hawk Tour girl spit on that thing.
Mhm.
Geez, what was my train of thought with Hawk Tour girl? That I was really thinking about how 2024 was her year.
Yeah.
And thinking about the idea of, 15 minutes of fame or up, right? I'm trying to think, like, as we've seen, if she is going to um continue to have a whole career in life based off of saying she spits on that thing. And the only other thing I think about viral people who've come and gone, who's like been really viral for a year and then just slowly disappeared. I was thinking about, remember Fred? I think that's a good
Yeah.
example. There was a
Brad
time
got a
where you thought
TV show
Fred,
though, just
they
didn't
just
do
straight,
well.
they just straight up gave him a TV show
Yeah.
on Nickelodeon, or Hasbula. I feel like
The
last year a lot of people,
little
yeah, the
guy.
little
Yeah.
guy, yeah,
He's not really a thing anymore. The broy
right,
culture, like Barstool culture, still likes him, but it's not a big.
right. I
And
was thinking
honestly,
like,
let's just be honest. They're mostly laughing at him. They're not even really.
no,
But
you're not wrong. I feel like if we're still referring to Hawk to a girl a year from now, then you can really say.
yeah, I
I
mean,
think she's just her. She just keeps on going with these months, and the Mets helped her with their
Mets
run
helped
too.
her,
Now she
for
can't go to
sure. I
that.
mean, she's gonna. I think she'll keep her podcast. To be honest with you, because I mean, think about. I was thinking
Everybody can,
about
yeah.
this because everybody had all this reaction. We saw this the SNL skit. They made a joke about Alex Cooper, call her daddy, right? All this stuff, and the Kamala Harris interview or whatever. Like, who is the next most famous female podcaster?
After
After Alex
after
Cooper.
after Cooper.
It's clearly Alex Cooper's number one, right? I
Yeah,
think
I
that
guess you.
that's
Besides the girls, I don't know.
right.
Unless I have to literally look up, I'll look up right now. Top 10 most popular podcasts.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You could look it up, and it's good. I mean, again, Alex Cooper is obviously on there, but I don't know who else would even be on that top 10 list, right? So I think that there's kind of a market. As crazy as it is, me, I've been the one saying the fame's gonna fade, the fame's gonna fade. But as long as she's doesn't go crazy and just keeps it about merch in a podcast and doesn't try and like make a TV show about her life or anything like that. Because I can't imagine she's particularly a good actress or anything.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm
Yeah,
looking
but
at right now specifically Spotify.
yeah.
Now, would you count, because the ones that are featuring the women, there's Larry Rogan, obviously, Cooper, Sean Ryan, I don't know who that is, but he's 3.
Mm.
Former Navy SEAL
Oh,
contractor, okay.
probably a
Tucker
whatever.
Carlson at 4, The
Mhm.
Daily at 5, that's New York Times. This girl, Rotten Mango, but it's a true crime one, Stephanie
Well, that makes
So.
sense. True crime, and that's
Yeah,
big
all
with
these, the
women,
rest of them are
especially.
true crime, and then you have Schultz, and
Yeah,
then Patrick Bet David after.
right. So it's just Alex Cooper is alone on this list of people who do like a talk show format podcast and are about like four women. Let's call it 4 women. And so I think that it could work. You know what I mean? With some updates, because I have not liked the show yet, but I think that there is an opening for someone like her right now.
Mhm.
And that's horrible to say because there's a lot of similarities between her and Alex Cooper. Both women, they're both blonde. You know what I mean? So like I'm not saying like, oh, this is groundbreaking. I just mean that women like to hear interviews too. Women like to hear advice too. And obviously there are men who are doing it, and women can certainly listen to those podcasts. Hopefully, like women listen to our podcast, but at the same time, a lot of times when you're talking just about life or whatever, you want to have someone who's, you know, done it, lived that experience. And so, yeah, I think there's an opening for Haley Welsh. I have a hard time not calling her Hawk Tua, but Haley Welsh to, really fill a gap, and
Fill the
then
gap.
her career will go forever. I mean, not forever, but yeah, then she'll have a real career as an interviewer and a podcast host.
Boy, can you imagine like That's one thing. I mean, the culture has to study. How does one with a sexual innuendo, be taken seriously?
I feel like
Like,
we
can she
all
become Barbara Walters?
no.
Yeah, that's the point.
But
I mean,
is
if she cares
Alex?
enough to.
But is Alex Cooper Barbara Walters?
Well,
I
she
guess
had an
she just
opportunity.
interviewed. I
She
guess
had
she
an
just
opportunity.
interviewed
No,
a
she's
vice
not.
president, but like, no, she's
And I
not.
don't
And
think, with all due respect, wasn't that viral?
no, I mean, but like, but it's not just her. Like, Rogan is not Barbara Walters,
Mhm.
right? Andrew Scholes had the former president of the United States. The Undertaker had the former president. Neither one of
The
them, Theo
Undertaker.
Vaughn, none of them are Barbara Walters, like, or Walter Cronkite. Like, podcasts aren't news. They talk about the news, but they're not
Mhm.
news people. They don't need to be serious. None of those folks are going to host 60 Minutes. They're going to host their podcast. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they're going to do. And so
That's one
I
thing we were
yeah.
still waiting for on those big news shows. Not a lot of millennials and Gen Z there yet. They're
Yeah, well,
protecting that.
'cause
They're
they won't.
protecting that till
Yeah,
they have no
exactly.
choice.
It's like Lauren Michaels
It's like,
maybe not
you
handing
are
over.
going to be old if we're producing this show.
Yeah,
You
no,
must be
and
old.
which is why I will never, by the way, get back to the levels that it used to be at. Because all those people were young people when they started, and now they just
Mhm.
won't let go. So they're like, why are the ratings? And obviously, the media landscape has changed tremendously. But the fact is, all these people started young. Now they're old. Ratings went down from when they started, and they're trying to figure out how it's the viewers' fault. No, what is the one thing that you had at the beginning when it was good that you don't have now? Oh, a young host. You know what I mean? Like, it's very obvious, to be honest with you. Like,
One thing we talked about,
but
that Taylor Tomlinson,
yeah, how'd that do? I don't think that did all that well, but
I know, with all due respect to her, and she's exactly our age, I don't really see anything from that.
no, she's
And I give her
funny,
a
by
lot
the
of
way. Her stand-up's funny, but
that. I think also, to be fair to her, is just the landscape of any late night show.
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. There is a change in the way we watch shows, and so being on TV looks different now. That's just a fact, regardless of how old you are. But I do think some of these shows would be doing better, especially news organizations, if the people delivering them looked like, half the voting population, as opposed to a quarter of the voting population.
Yeah, dude. But we're gonna have to. We'll see what happens in the future there. So, also, what's coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, why don't we? Excuse me. Why don't we just switch it up? Just a nice, wholesome video. This
Do it.
video has 18 million views. 18 million.
Mhm.
And Ryan, I'm going to play you this clip. And I'm simply going to ask you, how Australian is this video?
We have a scale, or just whatever
Just
feels
check
right?
out how
Okay.
Australian this is.
Whatever feels right. That's fine. Oh boy.
All right, are you going to help feed the tawny? Yeah. You reckon you can remember how to do it? Yeah. Here you go. Put it in there. Because he's new, you have to put it in a bit deeper at the start. Because he doesn't know what you're trying to do. So I know how you've done it with the old tawnies that we used to rear, but because this
Tawnies.
one's new, right?
Ever heard of a 20?
So he doesn't know if we're gonna what we're trying to do to him. Because out in the bush, we're not normally his friend, are we?
No, we don't live out there.
I know. So he's not used to seeing us, so he doesn't know what we're trying to do with this funny little chicken heart. So when they first come in, what you want to try and do is, if you poke it down the back, see, like that, and then glunk. Now he's like, oh, that was nice. All right, then, you remember what I taught you?
Yeah.
All right, let's see if you can get it in.
Hi.
So-
Open your beaky.
Oh, he's getting distracted. Excuse
Hey, a
me,
kangaroo.
Bob.
Who lives in the
We're trying
house?
to do some feeding of this new guy. See that? He'll
Like,
open his
kangaroos are
beak.
dangerous.
Yep, go.
It's
Oh, how good. Did you see that, Violet? How
Yeah.
good. How
Violet.
good are you getting at that, hey?
Look how Australian he looks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Alright,
do
don't
that.
talk it up. You're not that good. You're not as good as Dad.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow again.
Oh, yeah? What do you reckon, Violet?
Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Anya.
Look at that,
I'm gonna see you guys
17.9 million views.
That's crazy. They just live in this house, huh?
Yeah, you have to ask Rhea Ripley. Is it normal to have kangaroos in the house?
I mean, mate, I didn't. I thought because they get big, right? Like, I know that was clearly
Yeah.
a baby, right? That was clearly a small one, but
Mm-hmm.
like they get
Kanga.
big.
Are they calling the Kangas?
Rue, it's Rue,
Oh,
right?
it's Rue who
A
had it.
little bit, a
Okay.
little Rue. That was almost British, so I just turned it off. But yeah,
Australians are just Southern British people.
I guess so. It started as a what's it called? True story. I think Australia was originally like a prison colony for Britain.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
all of the people who started Australia were just British
That.
prisoners. I mean, there's obviously, people who are from Australia, native to Australian, but the most of the population is not that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me, gotta be such a crazy experience. Like, think about how many people who are scared of animals
Mhm.
here, right? I mean, I've got animals I'm scared of. Not many, but I do have. I think I've talked about it on this show, actually. But like, I feel like you can't be scared of any animal if you're Australian,
And they have a
right?
completely different amount of species in there.
Right, and
Like
that's the
it's
other thing
it's
too.
there's stuff in Australia you will not see in other countries, like
Right.
kangaroos, koalas, that type of bird I've never seen.
Yeah, I still don't know what it is. I mean, clearly that's a nickname for it. A tawny, what do they call
And
it?
yeah, what's it like? It's about 18. It's like an 18-hour flight from like New York
Yeah,
City, I think.
it's far. It's far.
Like, geez. You ever been to Australia? Is it a major like destination for
I think
vacation?
I think people go. I don't know that it's
Like, like people love to go to France or Italy
I
and
don't think
stuff. Is
it's
it on
like
that
that.
level?
I don't think it's like that, but I feel like people like to go to like Sydney just to say they've been to Australia or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those. It's almost like a bucket list thing where you're like, we should take a trip to Australia, and it's not because that you love going there. It's just to say you went to Australia. You know what I
And it
mean?
will count as another continent you go to.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You went to another continent or whatever. I've never been. I've never been over to the like Asia at all. Um,
Mhm.
like the Asian area. The Australia is obviously not part of Asia, but um, that kind of area of the world I've never been. So uh, I can't speak to the flight. My wife has done it a few times for work, and she has reported that it is a very very long flight. So actually it's like two or three very very long flights, but yeah. So I would go, but it is weird
Yeah, you might as
because
well.
I feel like wildlife, just nature in general, is just less scary in Australia. More scary to us. Like those animals all look like they could hurt me, right? But to them, like they're just more used to living with animals and stuff, like living with nature. And so I don't know. That's just my take on it. We couldn't. I don't think Americans could do very well, like out
Yeah,
in the bush, as
you
they
won't have
say.
your Dunkin' Donuts in America. And speaking of Dunkin' Donuts, there's this viral Dunkin' Donut drink that someone named Susan made. And
Yeah.
somebody went out of their way to make this. I guess they were just so freaked out by this. So you tell me what you think of this drink. And should I read the
Okay.
ingredients first or just let it go?
I think we let it go. We can talk after about the
Okay,
ingredients.
this is Susan B's Dunkin' Donuts order at
Okay.
6.9 million views.
Mhm. What even is that?
Blueberry something. They have the
Okay.
ingredients for us to we can
Yeah.
read right after.
Oh, here we are. Yeah, I can see it there.
Okay, you might as well see.
So
18 or can you read better?
sure, we got 18 Marshable swirl. I'm assuming that's a marshmallow thing.
Yeah, I've
Two
never heard of a
vanilla
Marshmallow.
shots, four hazelnut shots. So that's probably like a Nutella. Four blueberry shots, four coconut shots, 12 milk. Oh, sorry,
I
12
say 12
sugar.
sugars. No,
Yeah,
come on, chill with that. 12 sugars.
milk. And I don't even know what the last one is.
I think it says skim.
Oh yeah, probably maybe it's skim milk. It's like milk, comma skim, and but it's a large iced potion macchiato.
Potion macchiato. That's what they called it.
That's.
Look at this.
Is there any coffee in this?
This person must have been pissed to make this.
How do you even stir that with all that sugar in there?
12 sugars. That's genuinely concerning. Like 2 is too much. Ice.
Gotta add the ice. There's that milk.
There's a
That's the
hazelnut.
coffee. Oh, there's the hazelnut. Is there any coffee in that coffee?
I don't think so. It's potion macchiato.
How does one drink that?
Because they're sick in the head.
Have we seen a video of someone drinking that?
Let me just quickly see if a potion macchiato drink. But I'm not a coffee drinker. I drink Magic Mind. But I like tea and Celsius. I like tea and Celsius.
There's a lot of
Potion-
caffeine in Celsius.
Yeah. Where's I going with this? But I mean, geez. And so I don't really know. Like, you can make your own drink, I assume, right? You like coffee?
Oh yeah.
right?
I mean, you'd think if you just say, "Here's what I want," they'll give it to you clearly, right?
Okay, somebody's writing. Maybe this is a promoted thing. Dunkin' Halloween Poshia, or maybe it's a viral. They wouldn't do that. They would not sell the public 12 something with 12 sugars.
I don't think they would. No, like maybe there's a version of it that doesn't have 12 sugars, and this person asked for 12 sugars,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, you'll have every health organization in the world up in arms if you start handing
Look at
Americans
this.
12
So,
scoops of sugar.
Straight from the Dunkin' website. It's a thing, at least, the potion macchiato. But I don't know if they just took it to another level. By the way, I love blueberry. I love blueberry donuts. I love blueberry munchkins. I love
Okay.
blueberry anything, but
I mean, so it looks different right away.
yeah, like this is how you properly make it. It seems
Right, because you can see a clear brown, and you
That
can't
actually
see
looks pretty good.
a
I'd probably
pile
try
of
it.
sugar.
I would
So
try
clearly,
it.
yeah, I would try that. I think clearly we'll have to do that as one of our food tries. Before
Oh.
the month's up. It's clear to me that this person just got that right, and then asked for 12 sugars and a bunch of other stuff in it.
Maybe it looks like it, but when without the coffee too.
Yeah,
Man, I do love me
That's
some
insane.
Dunkin' Donuts, but
that's
that was a
crazy.
bit too much.
Well, that's not even Dunkin' Donuts. That's just sugar and blueberry soup. Like, what is it? What even is that? Like, I guess you'll feel awake because you'll have a sugar rush for the first like 2 hours of your day. But I feel like the crash after drinking that would be historic. I'm talking
Very
stock market
historic.
crash. That's Great Depression crash you're about to experience if you drink that thing.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong. And now, but the show must go on in that sense. And I don't know, maybe if we could get our hands on some potion macchiato, because I haven't seen any commercials with that. I definitely
No,
would.
that's brand new. I've not seen that. They said it's returning, so it's existed before too. But
Yeah, I think they said October 28th. So maybe they're just doing it for the last.
just for the week of
for the-
Halloween.
Yeah. We're going to have to see.
That could be, and hey, that's good to know.
Very good to know. There's one last. So Ryan, we knew each other in 2011 now,
Yeah.
a whopping 13 years ago. And now there's
Yeah.
enough time where you can say it's nostalgic. Early 2000s, early 2010s,
2010s, yeah.
nostalgic. Yeah, I would say it gets nostalgic like 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah,
And,
it probably stops there.
Yeah. And then I think you could look at something from 2014 and now it looks the same. But at least those 3 years,
Mhm.
there's some nostalgic to it, right?
Yeah.
So I just
I would
saw a
say so.
guy named Elijah Dystopia, right? And
Okay.
they were hitting on the nostalgia of the 2010s in the mall. So this is called Point of View. It's 2011, and your mom dropped you and your friends off at the mall.
Yeah.
Hey, what?
It's in the building, nigga.
Swagging the emo.
So I don't
Roshan from the
remember
fantasy league made it to the comments.
who did.
Roshan from the
Oh,
fantasy league. When OF meant odd future. Wow. And there's one more too. There's part 2 of this. This song.
Who else really trying to fuck with Hollywood Code? I'm with Marley G, bro, flying Holly Grove chicks to my Hollywood shows. And I wanna tell you something that you probably should know. This that Slumdog Millionaire Bollywood flow. And
I really
Dude.
don't remember this thing. I don't remember that.
No,
Do
I
you?
don't no,
I
I
don't
don't think
remember
that
that.
was but I definitely remember Sesame Street.
Yes,
The Elmo and Cookie Monster
the
shirts were a
clothing, I
big
do
deal.
remember.
In fact, there was a
Yes.
famous Katy Perry SNL skit with that where she got in trouble for showing the
Mhm.
cleavage of Elmo.
Yeah, no, that's yes. I remember the clothes. All the clothes actually were somewhat recognizable, not necessarily
And the Wiz Khalifa,
me,
he's
but
old as
yes.
fuck now. Drake's still here, but you know he got his career murdered.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Still number 1 in Spotify or whatever that DJ Academics posted. But yeah, no, I remember the way that they look for certain. The whatever that was with the staring at each other. That wasn't my experience, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a thing. Just means it wasn't a thing in Norwalk, Connecticut. Or honestly, it just means it wasn't a thing in Norwalk, Connecticut near Cranberry School.
Man, those were some days though. 2011, going to the mall. People go to the mall still. I mean, yeah, dude. I guess yeah. They
Oh
still do
yeah,
the
there's a
mall.
mall near me, and only kids go to the mall.
Okay, so that tradition does keep
That's
going
the
in
only thing that's
America.
stuck. I don't know what they're buying. I don't think they're buying anything. Maybe Starbucks, but no, they're still there. I mean, tourists go too. We have a lot of tourists from out of town, given where I live, of course. But yeah, it's just tourists from out of town who are just buying all of the America hats, all of the political merch, and then there's children who buy, I think, a Starbucks and kind of walk around and just vibe, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Mhm. But you know that word swag. That
Yeah,
word,
swag.
the grown-ups took that word away from us.
They did. And why? They
Now when
made it
people say
worse.
swag,
They're
that's
old.
basically getting merchandise. I
Oh,
remember
yeah,
working in
that too.
college, and I worked in they called it the Red Key Society, who did the tours, and that was actually
Yeah.
great. I really enjoyed it. Remember my old boss, Christine, one of my favorite bosses of all time. I think she just had a child. I should congratulate her. She's like, look at our swag we have here. And it was
Like a
just like,
swag bag or
he was
whatever.
probably our age when I
Mhm.
was in college now. And I was just like, oh, why you say that? Stop saying that.
Yeah, swag bag was a thing. They would
Swag
give,
bag, jeez.
give out merch and like a thing, and it was just like pens and
And how about
maybe a shirt.
and how about turn up? That was a big word. Instead
Turn
of
up
getting
was
like
big.
turn up.
To be clear to the kids, it's not turn up, it's turn up. And turn down, which I think kids might still know. It's similar to that, actually. It's like, wait, like turn down for what? Means you're not turning down, you're actually turning up. So if you've heard that song, that's essentially what we're talking about. The turn up, yeah.
And one thing I never got to do, never had, the Four Loco was big in the early 2010s.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have had one, but they used to be like dangerous.
Yeah, like were they legitimately dangerous with the caffeine and alcohol combination?
Yeah,
I wouldn't know. There's bound to be some out there to I still want
like
to
the
just
original
test
ones.
it.
I don't know, but
I think they're banned too, but it's just the idea of, oh, I got with my hand on a Four Loco.
yeah, I have had one, but not. But after it was relaunched less dangerously. It's
And then lost
disgusting,
the
by the way.
appeal too.
Disgusting, by the way.
So what's
They
the
don't
difference
taste good.
between of was it just a vodka and Red Bull? Which I've never
Yeah,
had, by the
essentially, it
way.
was just like an alcoholic energy drink type thing. I don't particularly love energy drinks either, but
Mhm.
no, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I mean, it's a lot of alcohol, even still. So I definitely was feeling it, but um, I was 21 actually when I finally had one, and I did it. I didn't even finish it. I was like, I just want to, kind of what you were saying. Like, I've never had one of these, but everyone used to talk about these back when I was in high school, and so that's why I had it. I was like, oh, this is gross. I'm glad I didn't go out of my way to find one.
He's like, good thing I made the right decision. Well, nice nostalgic talk to finish it off, we're all set here today. Great work, Ryan. All right,
Thank
back
you.
before with another full amount of shows. Check out our recaps for college football and the NFL. This week it'll be one show together, both college and NFL into one show.
Mm-hmm.
We got NBA preview on Wednesday into Thursday. Got a World Series preview this week. We got another tweet cap and more picks. So a lot of fun ahead. So let us rest and enjoy it. And great work tonight, Ryan. We'll see you all very, very soon.
Have a good night.